If it had not been for Ernie Buehl, we wouldn't have had Tuskegee Airmen. Think about that. If it had not been for Ernie Buehl, we wouldn't have had Tuskegee Airmen. Think about that. Chief Anderson met Mr. Buehl and used to rent his airplane because, well, there are multiple things, but Dr. Albert E. Forsyth, also they needed an airplane after Chief crashed his. They needed an airplane to fly. So they did that. But long before that, Chief Anderson had flown and had hours, and he got run out of airports with broom handles at the oldest airport in the country, College Park, north of D.C. They would land. He would have somebody with him. They would land. They couldn't get out of the airplane. They would tell them they had to leave immediately. But he talked to Ernie Buehl. They met, and I'm not sure now how they met, but he told him he wanted to get a certificate. And Ernie Buehl was one of the few people who had ever even indicated that he would fly with him. So he went up flying with him, was absolutely impressed with his skills. And he says, you are qualified to get a license. And he says, you know, I know this guy, not the CAA, it was before the CAA, and we'll go over and I'll just tell him that you're one of my students and you need a check ride. So he goes over, they land, and he goes in and he tells him that he wants him to give him a check ride, and he didn't want to have him take the test for the exam, and he wouldn't give him a check ride. And it's my understanding that Ernie Buehl says to Anderson, you go stand over by the airplane. I'm going to have a talk with this guy. And there were threats. And you had better give him this exam. So he takes him in the back room. He sits down. He sits for the exam. He finishes it. And he comes back out, and Buehl is waiting for him. And he tells Anderson to go on and stand outside. And he says, okay, how did he do? He said, well, he made 100 on the exam, but I'm only going to give him a 98. I can't give him a perfect score. And at that point, he says, okay, you're going to give him a check ride. And he very reluctantly get in the airplane. They go out and they fly. He comes back, he lands. And he says, well, how do you do? He said, he can fly all right. He can fly all right. I'm going to give him a certificate, but I'm not going to give him a perfect score. I'm going to give him a certificate. But Buehl would not let up. He pushed this guy to the nth degree to make sure that Chief Anderson got that certificate.
Yep.
And Anderson was just thrilled that an individual would stand up for him like that, to recognize his skills for what they were, and they became very good friends. And the rest of his life, he talked about Ernie Buehl to students of his like me.